These are questions I got from the Center for the Future of Museums. And so they say, for readers who may be unfamiliar with the Khan Academy, can you give a capsule description of your work? And I'll make it even clearer. It's not just my work anymore. We're a team of 15 and growing people. Actually, I think we're now at 16. And it started off as essentially, it got most known for a video library that I originally made for my cousins, put them on YouTube, got really popular. I was doing it as a hobby, really. I had a day job as an analyst at an investment fund. And I was also working on kind of a primitive version of software to quiz them and things like that. Then in 2009, I quit my job to work on it full time. And in 2010, we got funding to work on it. And so most of the funding is actually to work on the software platform. And the software lets students start at any place. 1 + 1 = 2. It'll generate problems for them. And it won't and allow them to move ahead as they gain proficiency, as they gain mastery of subjects. So they learn at their own pace, and they make sure that all of their gaps are filled. And the videos are there to complement the exercise platform. And right now, there's over 2,700 videos covering everything from basic mathematics to calculus to college level, differential equations, linear algebra, and sciences, biology, chemistry, and a little bit of history and economics and finance. The exercises are deeper K through 12 math. Over the next year, we'll see it, or we'll hopefully all see it, get to be fairly deep K through, I would say, 14 math, so cover a lot of the advanced mathematics. And then beyond that, you're going to see the exercise platform move into physics and chemistry and even parts of biology and maybe grammar and things like that. And the whole idea for us as a not-for-profit is to be number one, a way for anyone to get an education. Our mission is literally a world-class education, anyone, anywhere, for free. So free education. And number two is to be a tool that can be leveraged inside the classroom to make the classroom more interactive. Tool to make the classroom more interactive. Classroom interactive. And when I say this, it's a little unintuitive because we are a technology tool and we involve on-demand video and we involve exercises that are done on the computer. So how are you making it more interactive? When I say more interactive, I literally mean interactive with humans. And the model that we're experimenting with now, and the initial results seem very, very promising in the pilot real classrooms that we've been dealing with, is because so much of the scaffolding of knowledge can have the conceptual development, so much of the exercises can be done on the online platform. What we're saying is take that part outside of the classroom experience. This can be done at a student's pace, at their time, and then give that data to the teacher. And so when the student goes into the classroom, you have all this freed up time so that the students can teach each other. They're all learning at different paces. And the teacher can do more focused, more deep interventions with the students because the teachers now have all of this. They now have all of this data. So it frees up time, powers the teacher with data. All of class time, no longer one pace fits all, one size fits all lectures. It's now all about everyone working at their own pace, and every minute of a teacher's time and every minute of a student's time is either working at their own pace or interacting with each other. So that's what we talk about it as a tool. And right now, most of the users are right over here. We have about 2.5 million unique students a month, and that number is growing exponentially, really. They've already watched over 70 million videos, and they've done over 100 million exercises. We have about 1 million exercises done per day now, and that number is also growing rapidly. So that's kind of the general overview of what we're doing. And one thing I want to be clear here is for both of these, we've only had funding for about 12 months. I've been doing this in one form or another for 5 or 6 years now, or actually closer to 7 years. But as an organization, we've only been around for less than a year. And so these are works in progress. We're already seeing good results and good traction with what we already have, but we hope to just learn more and more from the schools and the teachers and the parents and the students that we're working with to just improve them better and better and make the education and make the classroom more and more rich experiences, either through things that we do directly or through the things that we enable because we're taking other things off the table. Question number 2. What do you see as the greatest barrier, technological, cultural, political, to mainstreaming the Khan Academy system into public education? Well, I think the first is something that I'll put firmly on Khan Academy's shoulders, on our shoulders, is that we have to make a very compelling case. And a compelling case isn't just a cool piece of software that a lot of people are using, or a bunch of videos that a lot of people are using. That's part of it, and we do have traction. That traction happened organically, which I think does speak to it. No one forces these 2 million or 2.5 million students every month to use our site. They themselves find it compelling. But that by itself isn't enough. We need to go into classrooms, and we don't. And I think it's very important that people understand that we don't think that we have a perfected solution. We think that we have the start of a compelling solution. But what we want to do is work with, and this is what we're doing with our pilot classrooms, we want to work with these teachers, these students, these parents to make a better product and see how this product can be used, to see how we can, so that we can so we can really make the classroom as human of an experience as possible. And then of course we have to prove that it works. And proving that it works is, there's one metric that people in the education or maybe the policy world which is performance on test scores. And we definitely want to make sure that we have improvements, or at minimum no negatives. And so far it does look like we are seeing actually fairly dramatic improvements in certain classes using the model we're advocating and using these tools. But an improvement also happens in intangible ways with kids. If now kids are able to do as good on the tests as they were before, or even better on the tests, but now they have a better attitude towards mathematics. They're more attentive in class. They're able to be exposed, because you have all of this freed up class time, to projects and experiences that they wouldn't have otherwise been exposed to, that can't necessarily be captured on an assessment exam. If those things are happening, we also view that as signs of success. So these are things that we have to prove. Once we do, and hopefully we are able to prove all of those things, and it seems like we are on track, hopefully, knock on wood, to do those things. Then the next thing is to really just, I think the main bottleneck, because we are a free solution, we are not for profit. People know that we aren't doing this to make money off of it. We're doing this because we generally care about education. Is I think just people to one, understand what we're talking about. So right now there's some knee-jerk reactions that think that we're all about kids spending all of their time on a computer, or spending all of their time watching videos, and that somehow replaces teachers. We're about the opposite of that. We think class time should be about interaction. We think that we are the catalyst to take lectures out of the classroom, to make the classroom more interactive. So people have to get over those, those knee-jerk reactions, which I think aren't correct perceptions of what we're trying to do. And then beyond that, it's just a willingness to change. And I think the willingness to change, there are many really open-minded teachers that are already doing it, and those are the ones that we're working with to really help define what we are, to help define what our features should be. And those are going well. And I don't know what percentage of teachers will fall into that camp where they see a good tool and they like it, and it seems that it has good results and it gels with their way of teaching, they'll adopt it. The last thing I'd like to see, the last thing I want to see, is people being forced to use Khan Academy. So I really want it to be something that's opted into, because you could force anyone to use. If you force someone to use even something that's the best tool on the planet, and they don't want to use it, they can make it a not so great tool and a not so great experience. So our main concern is really to show that it's a viable model, it's a good model, it has all of the effects that we want it to have, that it really is improving education, both from an assessment point of view and from an intangible point of view. And we offer it free, and we give as much information to teachers and policymakers and parents, so that their own schools can adopt it if they want to. All of our tools are already available for free. All of the tools that our pilots are using, any classroom can use today. And then just see what happens, I guess, is the simple answer. Next question. Currently, Khan Academy content is heavy on subjects that focus on facts and absolutes, math, chemistry, physics. Is that mostly a function of your background and expertise, or inherent in the format? What are the limitations with your current model for covering squishy topics like art, literature, that are more about aesthetics and interpretation? Well, I would say it is true we are covering math, chemistry, physics, and sometimes they're not as fact or absolute based as sometimes people perceive them to be. But with that said, I've also started making videos on history and economics, and although economics is often considered a science, it can be a squishy subject where aesthetics and interpretation do begin to matter. One thing that you will see, and I think this is very interesting for the audience for the future of museums, is you will start to see we are bringing some people on board in the very near future on art history. They've already made some really tremendous videos, and we'll make the formal announcement once we have everything integrated. And they've done a really good job with art history, and they've had these interesting conversations about it. And I think that's actually a good model, not just for art history, but it's a good model for a lot of the humanities. In something like history, or whatever humanities you want to pick, it's nice to have a scaffold. Even in art history, you want to have a scaffold. You want to know what it means to be a surreal painter, or what it means to be, or when did the Baroque period take place, or whatever it might be. And so that's where kind of maybe more traditional Khan Academy style videos are useful to get you the scaffold of information. But then I think the conversation type style, which these professors have kind of pioneered, is really interesting to get multiple viewpoints. And even if they don't cover all of the multiple viewpoints, it kind of gives the student the freedom to realize that you can have multiple viewpoints, and that they themselves can form their own. So you're going to see a lot more of that in the near future. So that's on the video side. On the exercise side, I think once again we can start to develop exercises that help at least make sure you have the scaffold of information. You know where the Civil War fit into the scope of U.S. history. You know where what the Magna Carta even was, and how it relates to other documents. And then once you have that scaffold, you're prepared to participate in a deeper discussion in class, or a deeper project, or a deeper type of simulation in class. Next question. Can the Khan Academy model as it currently works help kids go from learning facts and operations to critical reasoning, or does that require a different model? I'd actually say that we are actually, this is what we're about. We are about that right now. I think the problem with a lot of textbooks and some classes is that they are focused too much on facts and operations. And if you look at really any of the Khan Academy math videos, sometimes the facts and operations are shown, but they're never shown devoid of the motivation for doing that fact and operation. They're never devoid of the conceptual understanding, why it makes intuitive sense, how you can critically deduce that. You can reason those facts and operations just by thinking about the problem in the right way, and how multiple problems in different fields actually reduce to the same core distilled problem. And so I actually think that right now Khan Academy is all about critical reasoning, especially on the video side. I think on the exercise, there's a lot more work we have to do, but we do want to get there so that we do expose students to more simulations, more projects, more kind of things that require more than just knowing the steps of how to do a problem. So this is, I think in the videos, we're already doing this to a large degree. And frankly, I think that's why Khan Academy videos have gotten popular. On the exercises, we're starting with the base scaffold right now. And right now the exercises are more in this direction. But I think over time, you're going to see more and more exercises that point to critical reasoning, simulations, things where you're going to have to manipulate kind of virtual manipulatives to get to some type of a goal. Next question. 25 years from now, what do you think a school day will be like for an 8-year-old kid in America? Will she be commuting to a physical classroom or accessing content from home? How will she study? Who will her teachers be, and what will be their role? So I'll answer the first question. Ideally, they will be going to a physical classroom. They might, if they're in a very rural place or they don't have access, they might be able to learn accessing content from home, but I think we at the organization think that physical interaction with other people is a huge part of just kind of becoming, kind of maturing, and so we hope that there's a physical classroom. We think it might be a very different type of physical classroom. I kind of imagine now that every student can work at their own pace. You don't have to separate kids by age group anymore, and then you can the benefits of kids helping each other. So I would imagine one really large room, or maybe several really large rooms, that instead of having 30 kids in that room, maybe you have 200 kids in that room. But obviously, instead of having one teacher, you have maybe 200 kids, and you obviously want to have as many teachers as possible. The lower the student to teacher ratio, the better. So maybe you have, I don't know, maybe you have well, you could say n teachers, but if you have a 25-to-1 ratio, you would have 8 teachers here. And I think that's about consistent with many public schools. And so every student would be working at their own pace for some part of the day in every subject, all the way from grammar to history to mathematics. The teachers are there to mentor them, to guide them, to help them get past hurdles. And because so much of the learning can hopefully be done in a very efficient way, most of the day is spent doing projects. So if this is the school day, we want maybe this part is core skills, and the rest of the day is projects. The rest of the day is projects. So kids writing software, kids conducting scientific experiments, real scientific experiments, kids producing video content or web pages or blogs or newspapers or composing music or writing short stories, whatever it is, they're doing projects. And the main role of the teachers will then be not only to help kids get past their hurdles with the core skills so that the kids can still perform on these other external exams and all the rest, but also to be the mentor for the projects. And we see not just the teachers being the mentors for both of these parts. We see the students mentoring each other. So if you have kids of all different age groups together, then you can have students who are more advanced or who have a knack for it to mentor students who are less advanced or who need help in a specific domain. And we'd like to see the eventual real powerful transcript, and this is something we already take to heart when we're hiring people. It's nice if you went to a fancy school with a fancy GPA, with fancy standardized test scores, but what we really care about is what have you built before? What have you, starting with a blank slate, have you ever put your ideas into action? Have you ever built anything? And so we think that the resume of the future will really be the projects that you work on over the course of your school years, both in K through 12 and college. And frankly, I think that division between K through 12 and college will also start to get blurred. Last question. You've said your goal is to create tens of thousands of videos in pretty much every subject, and the world's first free world-class virtual school where anyone can learn anything. Can you suggest ways that museums or museum practitioners could contribute to Khan Academy? Well, I think I encourage museums or museum practitioners to both make content, and I think some of the art history content you'll see from us in the near future will give a very good idea of how to make that type of content. So one, to make content and maybe share it with Khan Academy, maybe make it part of the Khan Academy library, and we're hoping to build tools so that other people can contribute to the library in some way. I think the other possibility is to leverage Khan Academy material or Khan Academy-like material. So if you have an installation or you have a painting on something, instead of having a little placard next to the thing that talks, has a 100-word description of it, why not have an explanation of it? Why not have someone, maybe Khan Academy style, explaining what that painting is all about? Maybe using some of our videos that you're about to see in the next few months on art history. Why not have people contribute their own interpretations of the art, maybe done Khan Academy style, or maybe it's just an audio track. I think it lends itself to a very interesting question, which is where are museums going? And I think they're similar to schools in that before you had to have a physical location to have a school. Similarly, you had to have a physical location to have a museum. I think where museums are going to go is that they're going to turn into these amazing, most museums I know of are amazing physical spaces, architectural spaces, community spaces. And I think they'll always be there, and I think there'll always be a role for those physical spaces. But I think what will happen is that the content in those physical spaces will be much more dynamic. They won't just be this installation that sits there for 3 months or 6 months or a year. There'll be information and installations that almost change based on the interactions with the people who visit the installations. And a lot of that static content, the paintings or the installations, those can also be virtualized. So sure, if someone goes to the physical museum, that's obviously the best experience. But if you virtualize them in the right way, you can also then bring the museum experience to people who don't have the privilege of going to the museum. And I think the Google Art Project starts to hint at some of this. And if you have the Google Art Project, which gives us very high resolution pictures of art that one can zoom into, and you couple it with kind of a conversational commentary on art history or on the art itself, I think you start to get close to that type of experience.